What is up, guys? Welcome to the channel, and we have a host city for the PLL inaugural season. It'll be held at Gillette Stadium in Foxborough, Massachusetts, home of the New England Patriots. And you guys probably know me from Marcus from Perspective Sports, but I decided to start this channel. Well, not start this channel. It's a relatively old channel that I never really used, just to talk about the PLL, lacrosse, and other stuff like that. Lacrosse is a game that I discovered relatively late in my life. I mean, I'm only 19, but I discovered it late 9th grade, started playing 10th grade, made first team all county in 11th grade, which was the inaugural season for Prince George's County lacrosse. And, shout out to Malachi, Jared, and Victor. They were also on that first team. And so, not to veer off, and that could be a video for a different day. I was thinking about putting together a little documentary production on how I discovered the game and how I fell in love with it. So let me know if you guys want that. But let's get to the point of this video, and that is for me to predict the 11 remaining cities to host a PLL event this season. And the remaining cities are Albany, New York, Atlanta, Georgia, Baltimore, Maryland, Boston, Massachusetts, which can be crossed off because they're already announced as the inaugural city. You have Buffalo, New York, Charlotte, North Carolina, Chicago, Illinois, Cincinnati, Ohio, Columbus, Ohio, Dallas, Texas, Denver, Colorado, Hartford, Connecticut, Houston, Texas, Los Angeles, California, Miami, Florida, Minneapolis, Minnesota, New York, New York, Orlando, Florida, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Portland, Oregon, Providence, Rhode Island, Raleigh, North Carolina, Richmond, Virginia, Salt Lake City, Utah, San Francisco, California, Seattle, Washington, St. Louis, Missouri, Toronto, Canada, Vancouver, Canada, and Washington, D.C. And off the bat, I went out on a limb and said I'm going to pick six guarantees, and I'm going to put 5 maybes. And I'm going to give you a quick rationale of why I picked each city, including the 5 maybes. But let's start with the guarantees first. And the first one is Baltimore, Maryland. And I don't think a lot needs to be said about Baltimore, Maryland. It's a huge lacrosse market. You have people that come out in full force. I mean, when you look at Loyola, Maryland, you've got Johns Hopkins, you've got Towson, you've got Maryland. Everyone here kind of loves lacrosse and will definitely come out in full force to support the PLL. So I think Baltimore, Maryland is a lock because you can't really not come to this area. Number 2, you have New York, New York, which is a very similar logic to Baltimore. I mean, lacrosse is really big in New York, and it's a double whammy because it's a massive market within itself. It has a plethora of potential venues, and so that won't be a problem for the PLL, and the support also won't be a problem because you have people coming from all over the surrounding area, including New York, to support it. Next, we have Hartford, Connecticut, and I wrote this video before they announced that the inaugural season would begin in Boston, Massachusetts, and I chose Hartford because it was sort of a middle ground between Massachusetts and Rhode Island. It's an hour and 48 minutes away from Massachusetts and an hour and 24 minutes away from Rhode Island, on top of being the 33rd largest TV market according to Nielsen. So I thought putting all those things together would make for a really good host location. And now that it's in Boston, it may not get one, but I still think that Hartford, Connecticut will get a PLL event, and that's why I'm doubling down on it, despite Boston being the host city. Next, we have Los Angeles, California, and I think that this is a pretty much lock because when you look at the PLL, the headquarters are now in Los Angeles. The youth participation rate in California is on the rise, and the fact that they don't have a lot of, let's say, high-tier college programs on that side just yet, the PLL has to make their way out there, so the youth participation rate will continue to rise, and the kids will have an opportunity to see high-level lacrosse play firsthand because they don't have the same opportunities that people I say we as in the East Coast, Upper East Coast area, like Maryland, New York, Virginia, North Carolina. Those people have, and so they don't really get a lot of opportunities to see these people in person, and so the PLL has to go over there and make a splash, and so I think that's pretty much a lock. Next, we have Houston, Texas on the guaranteed list. And Texas is another large TV market. Dallas and Houston for me was a coin flip. And so I went with a bit of anecdotal evidence to put Houston in over Dallas. And so when I went to a lacrosse tournament, we saw a team from Texas. So, we went over there. We had a chance to talk to them. And they were from Houston. And they talked about how the game was growing there. They loved it. And the fact that they pulled together all their money to come all the way up to Baltimore, Maryland for a tournament shows how serious they are about lacrosse, wanting to get better, and really, trying to take their game to the next level. And so that's why I chose Houston over Dallas. Now, I'm not saying that Dallas isn't serious about lacrosse. I'm just using anecdotal evidence to pick the city, if that makes sense. And so I'm going with Houston, Texas here. And finally, we have San Francisco, California. Yes, we have another place in California, except this one is 6 hours away. San Francisco is another market that the PLL would love to develop a relationship with. And the kids who live in the Northern California area will have a chance to see high-level lacrosse. You know, everybody can't afford to or have the time to drive all the way from San Francisco 6 hours down or take a plane down to see the PLL event in Los Angeles. So they have to give more people in California and in the West Coast, the northwest area now of the West Coast, a chance to see high-level lacrosse being played. And so that's why I chose San Francisco to be as a lock. And now for the 5 strong possibles that I put on my list. And the first one is Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. It came in ranking 4th in lacrosse cities according to Lax All-Stars. It is a great place to grow, that continues to grow exceptional lacrosse talent and develop it. You have excellent college programs like UPenn and Penn State. And so you have places like Lincoln Financial Field, which I think would be a perfect venue to host the PLL. Then we have Orlando, Florida. And I think this would be the best experience for the PLL. When you have Universal Studios, Disney World sandwiched, and you have the PLL sandwiched in between that, I think that would be the total package in terms of, I'm a lacrosse fan, I fly out to Florida, I go to Universal Studios, I go to Disney World, we go to this PLL event, and I know there is such thing as too much to do, which could cut into your market share, but I think this double-edged sword could work out well for the PLL because it can draw in new fans. We're down in Florida. We've been to Universal Studios. We've been to Disney World. Wait, I hear this is huge lacrosse event. I'm not too familiar with lacrosse. I mean, what could hurt? Let's go find out and see what that is. And I think that could be a place to draw in a ton of new fans for the PLL. Next, we have Columbus, Ohio. Ohio has the 7th highest participation rate according to Lax All-Stars. The players continue to get better. Ohio State is an excellent program. I think this would be one of the better places to host a PLL event. Then we have Denver, Colorado. The Denver Pioneers college team is phenomenal. Continue to pump out talent. And, now we have Houston, we have Texas. We continue to grow this Midwestern lacrosse market. And then finally at number 5, we have Atlanta, Georgia. And there was no glaring, hey, look at me answer to fill out these 11 cities. And so I went with Atlanta, Georgia. We had the 2 California teams to knock out the West Coast. We had a lot of Northeastern venues. We had 2 Midwestern venues. 3 if you count Ohio as Midwest. So we had 3 Midwestern venues. And so Atlanta, Georgia was kind of the remaining perfect place for me, in my opinion. It's the 10th largest television market according to Nielsen. There's a ton of great venues there in that area, and I think Atlanta would be a wonderful place for the PLL to host one of their events. Well, there you guys have it. There are my 11 cities. I'm really excited to see how mine stack up against the 11 that really come out. Let me know what you guys think down below. Did I get any, well, not any wrong? Do you guys think that, show me your 11. Just show me your 11 down below. And I can't wait for the PLL to announce the draft. I can't wait for them to announce the remaining 11 cities. I look forward to making more videos when those come out. See you guys down in the comment section.